Good morning, children. Welcome back. I'm sure you all are watching this short clipping. Do you know what this is? What you can see in the center, children, is the sun. And moving around the sun are the planets. One of the planet we all are living on, and that is Earth. Once again, have a look. You can see the planets moving around the sun. And this forms our solar system. So this is the solar system. Now to view the solar system, we need to use an instrument. And we are going to learn about that instrument today in the form of a poem. But before that, let me tell you one more thing. Apart from the planets, we also have satellites and comets that are seen in the solar system. Now let us see what a comet looks like. Now this is a comet. It's a heavenly body. It's made of ice and dust, having more than one tail. Sometimes it's one tail, sometimes more than that. A comet whizzes around. It goes moving very swiftly with a noise, and that's called whizzing. So children, I'm sure you would all like to see this comet and the planets and all that. But for this, we need to use a special instrument. And the name of that special instrument is a telescope. So children, today in English, we're going to learn a poem, and that is My Telescope. This poem, my dear children, is written by the poet Tony Bradman. Let us begin by reading the words that will be used in the poem so that we get familiar with them. You'll repeat it after me, children. Far, stars, seem, solar, comets, system, bought, myself, search, planets, telescope, whizzing, satellites. Now let us read aloud the following words and their meaning so that you get to know this poem in a better way. The first word we have is a telescope. Now what is a telescope? An instrument used to make distant objects appear nearer. Distant means far away. So this is a telescope. This is used to see far away objects, and when you look through this telescope, they appear closer to you. Solar system, I just shown you that. The sun and everything that travels around it. Here you have a picture of the solar system. Comet, a heavenly body made of ice and dust with one or more tails. Here you can see it spreads. Whizzing, moving quickly with a sound. So we have a comet which whizzes. It makes a sound, moving swiftly, fast. Planets, the large bodies or objects that move around the sun in the solar system. Here you can see these are the planets. Satellite, a small object that goes around a larger object. This is what a satellite looks like. Now let's understand the poem. My Telescope. Now this poem, as I earlier told you, is written by Tony Bradman. He is the poet of this poem. He says, I bought myself a telescope to look into the sky, to see the solar system and the comets whizzing by. I searched the sky for planets, for satellites and stars, and now I've got a telescope. They don't seem very far. So, here the poet Tony Bradman says that he bought a telescope so that he can look into the sky. He wanted to see the solar system and the comets that were moving swiftly here and there. He wanted to search the sky for planets, satellites, and stars. He felt that when he saw them all through his telescope, they did not seem very far. That is, you can see that arrow there, children. Through that, you have to look, and in the front part, the big round lens, what you can see, there you can sight it. You can sight everything what is up there, high up in the sky, the planets, the satellite, the stars, and you feel as if it's very close by. Although it's very far, but when you look through a telescope, it appears close by. So that is what the poet Tony Bradman is telling us. And he says he bought the telescope. Bought means when you go to the shop and you buy something, that's called bought. Here you can see this is the sun and the planets, the satellite, the comet, everything what is high up in the sky can be seen here. It's brought them very close to me. It's made the stars my friends. Except, of course, when I make a mistake and look through the wrong end. Now, here Tony Bradman is saying that because of the telescope, when he looks through the telescope, everything seems very close to him. And he says, watching them every day or watching them very often, he made friends with the stars, with the planets. He was very close to them. Except, he said, that is sometimes by mistake, instead of looking from the eye hole, that is from where the eye space is, where you should look through, sometimes he used to turn the telescope in the opposite direction and he used to look through the wrong space. Now in the second picture you can see the arrow. Sometimes he used to look through that space. So then what happens? The objects were looking much smaller because he was looking at the opposite direction. So that was what he meant to say, when I made a mistake and looked through the wrong end. Now children, let us read the poem. You will repeat after me. Just now you will just listen to me first. My Telescope by Tony Bradman. I bought myself a telescope to look into the sky, to see the solar system and the comets whizzing by. I searched the sky for planets, for satellites and stars. And now I've got a telescope. They don't seem very far. It's brought them very close to me. It's made the stars my friends. Except, of course, when I make a mistake and look through the wrong end. I'm sure, children, you have understood this poem. So you will read the poem, recite it by learning it. So let's listen to the poem and repeat it once again. Children, by reading it again and again, you will be able to learn it by heart. My Telescope by Tony Bradman. I bought myself a telescope to look into the sky, to see the solar system and the comets whizzing by. I searched the sky for planets, for satellites and stars, and now I've got a telescope. They don't seem very far. It's brought them very close to me. It's made the stars my friends. Except, of course, when I make a mistake and look through the wrong end.